Hello, gamers. Your ears are in the right place. My name is Kelthar, and you're listening to I Never Cast for This, episode 13. And we are a podcast dedicated to bringing forth discussions or debates on controversial gaming topics and hopefully putting them to rest. Today, we're going to be talking about the future of gaming. What's gaming going to look like in 2030? Which is 10 years from now, if you're listening in 2020. So, before we get to all that, let's just do a few introductions to see who we have here joining us today. So as I said, my name is Kelthar, and to the right of me on the panel, we have Erebus. How's it going, man?
It's going great, man. How's it going with you?
Good. You're looking quite pixelated this evening.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, man. I'm going to have to switch it up next week to try to upgrade.
Honestly, it's probably on my end. My internet is terrible, but it's all good. You're still coming in loud and clear, which is the main thing.
Perfect.
And returning once again, we have Atherkis. What's up?
Thanks, man. You too.
Oh my. And Rekuzor, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
That's good. This all sounds so forced. It's wonderful. And ending us off, we have a 5-person cast today. We have M2. How's it going?
It's going well.
Good, man. Good. Before I catch up with you guys, let's just talk about the format of the show again. So again, it's every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv. And if you can't catch the live show, that's all good because you can just watch the VOD on YouTube after. We're also available on most major podcast networks. What did I just say?
Netflix.
A Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah. All right. Patent pending. We're also on most major podcast networks. And if we're not on one, just let us know. All right. What have you guys been up to, whether it's gaming related or not? So we'll go to Erebus first. What have you been up to last week?
Once again, there's a trend here. Probably ties to being a parent, but not a lot of gaming. I did play a bit of Warzone with Atherkis, played a bit with M2 after the podcast last week, I think it was. And or it might have been a day after, but we played a few games. We had a couple good runs, almost won a game, came in third or fourth. I think this week I'll probably pick up Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on the Switch.
Nice.
It's getting good reviews, runs at 60 FPS. They've done a few upgrades, so that's like a really nostalgic game that I played with Rekuzor, if I recall, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Bam!
I think he helped me get Sebulba, or I helped him get Sebulba.
He always wins.
Yeah. But so I'm looking forward to going through that, and other than that, I think Atherkis and I are counting down the days till WoW Shadowlands launches later this year. We've been talking about that quite a bit.
Nice, cool. Atherkis, what have you been up to last week?
Nothing, man. Working, sleeping.
Nice.
That's it.
So not much gaming,
Do you
obviously. Yeah, do you eat or just fasting the whole time?
Nope. Just working, sleeping.
Yeah. And drinking beer, I see.
Nope.
Apple juice, got it. Yeah, cool. And Rekuzor, how about you?
I have been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight. They have the anniversary event that's going on right now, 4 years. I've played way too much of that, done like the cosmetics, and I'm trying to use new brutalities in Mortal Kombat 11 and failing. So there's that.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that. That's good. And M2, how about you?
Yeah, I picked up a few things on the Steam sale.
Oh yeah, Steam sale.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah.
it's not a bad one. There's
I'm just going to look at this window for a second.
picked up Planet Coaster. I've been meaning to play that for a while. I still have yet to fire it
Nice.
up though.
Nice.
The physics engine in that is great.
Yeah, I've seen some videos. It looks pretty interesting. So, and I'm a huge Roller Coaster Tycoon fan. So, hopefully it's at least a little bit similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing mostly just the usual stuff. I'm big into World of Warships and a little bit of SC2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Going back to yeah, go ahead.
I'm not a hardcore SC2 player though.
No. Is that the only Blizzard game you've really dedicated some time to?
StarCraft 1.
Okay.
I played Overwatch.
Okay.
And I wasn't really impressed with it. I just didn't like it, especially after coming after Team Fortress. I think if Overwatch and Team Fortress were released at the same time, Team Fortress would wipe the floor with it. But
yeah, no, I remember you were like huge into Team Fortress back in the day, and I guess if you're so if you're so into that game, it's hard to switch to a brand new game that's basically the same formula, except arguably doesn't do it as well. Right, but
yeah,
no, cool. All right. I was going to ask, Planet Coaster, is that really similar to Roller Coaster Tycoon? Did you say you played it yet, or you haven't yet?
I haven't fired it up yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does look like Roller Coaster Tycoon, and that game is like the best. I got that in a cereal box once. Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. Okay. Before we get into the big topic of gaming in 2030, we're just going to look at there was a lot of news this week, actually, and I think, we'll get right into the news. So, Erebus, what is the big thing that's taken the internet by storm this last couple days, I think it's been?
It's a couple days, but it's kind of an overarching thing. So Dr. Disrespect, I think most of us know who he is, and most gamers, I should say, know who he is. If you have any ties to gaming or streaming, he's a streamer that, puts on a performance, or he has a character or archetype or whatever that he plays, and really entertaining guy. I've been watching him for years, and he randomly got a Twitch ban, permanent Twitch ban, all of his emotes, subs refunded to people, and it's extremely strange because it's really quiet in terms of nothing's leaking. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about what's going on. Some people think it's a sexual assault case because of the whole almost kind of Me Too streamer movement thing that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. There's some people that think he's moving to another streaming platform with Ninja and Shroud, because as you guys know, Mixer is finished. So Shroud got a $10 million package, Ninja got a $30 million package, and they're free to do what they want. So some people think the three of them are collaborating to start something, but it's really strange. He put out a tweet saying that he didn't know why Twitch banned him, and that's all we've got. And it's been 3 or 4 days now. The other big news is the streamer. I'm calling it the Me Too movement, but that, it's like there's basically around 100 streamers that have been accused of some sort of sexual assault. A lot of them very prominent streamers. There's been 5 Twitch bans over it. I immediately, when I first saw it, and I would encourage you guys to look at it, it's very disturbing and uncomfortable to look at. And we often crack jokes about, stuff all the time, but this shit is sickening. If you look at what these guys are saying, I won't read it because it's, some people may not want to hear it, but I think it's an important topic to talk about. Maybe if it's something we can talk about on a more difficult podcast, maybe, but War Witch TV is one I want to talk about. And the reason I want to is because he's a guy that I watched for a while. He played Elite Dangerous, smaller streamer, probably 20, 30K followers, 40-year-old-ish with a wife, kids, everything. He was soliciting underage girls in Twitter DMs. And I thought it was bullshit when I heard about it, because I you think you know a guy watching a stream, which is ridiculous because you really don't know who they are in person, but you watch it and you kind of get used to them. And they posted everything. So all these women are coming out posting what these people said to them. I won't repeat what he said or what he sent, but good God, it's really disturbing. And now there's 100 people have come forward for prominent streamers. So some people think Dr. Disrespect might be in that group, but obviously there's been nothing else. So that's a severe. I'm not alleging that he's actually caught up in that or not, but it's just the timing of it is strange when all this other stuff is happening.
Very coincidental timing for sure.
But either way, I would highly encourage any viewers, listeners, you guys on this to take 20 minutes and just read up on it, because I did, and because I honestly read about it and I thought, oh my goodness, like a bunch of women are coming out and accusing men of stuff, and this always happens. And I had a stereotype to it, but it's not. It's evidence. Like they're posting screenshots and pictures and stuff of things that they got in messages, and they're 12, 13, 14-year-old girls.
That's gross.
It's really disturbing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I know the one I saw was the Method, the guild, the WoW guild.
Yeah.
That was like arguably, I guess, the most successful WoW guild ever, and it basically collapsed because one of the members, I don't remember his name, and it doesn't really matter, I
Josh?
guess. Yeah, I
Method
think.
Josh.
And he was doing similar stuff, just being generally creepy. I think it was
Well,
something.
no,
to do with,
Method Josh is one of the few that's actually accused of rape. So he had a woman over at his house who was on stream. They went to sleep that night. She came back on the next day. They're on stream, and she's crying, leaving his house, all that stuff. And then she went home, really upset. Had a stream, was really upset. Anyways, she posted this thing saying that the night of that stream, he raped her repeatedly. So that's what's come out. And apparently Method knew there was a problem for well over a year, had multiple reports and ignored it.
Yeah.
And now all of the prominent Method people on Twitter and stuff have left there's a bunch of them have left the company or the Method company. So Method is basically done. Sko, the leader of Method, is basically done. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't looked a whole lot into it just because this last week has been extremely hectic for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something to look into for sure. Anything they want to weigh in on, or any streamers they were surprised at, or just anything at all about this?
I got nothing.
No.
Most of the streamers I follow are they're actually World of Warship streamers. So I don't follow any Warzone or what. I've seen a bit of Doctor Disrespect. I mean, he's putting on a shtick, but
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that his personality is actually like what he did, how he performs in real life, like way he speaks to people and stuff. But why can't people just not be jerks?
I know, right?
Apparently, it's hard to do. Yeah, that's with going back to Doctor Disrespect too. Like, I wonder how much, because M2 was saying, the whole thing is an act, not necessarily what's happening now, but his entire stream persona since he came into the whole thing has just been him playing a character. So to me, is he building up to this whole new platform? Go ahead.
Some people think he is.
Yeah.
Some people think this is a massive marketing ploy, and Ninja and Shroud have been silent. So Ninja and Shroud, for people that aren't familiar, are two of the other biggest streamers who just got released from Mixer. So they were paid a crap ton of money to go over to Mixer, and then Mixer just, didn't make it.
Yeah.
And so they're free agents with a bunch of money. So the three guys are basically free agents right now, according to so what some people are saying. So some people think they're starting their own streaming platform, or they're going to be trying to make a big move. It was interesting, like Dr. Disrespect was talking about David Icke, who's a conspiracy theorist, and saying all this really weird stuff in the last podcast that he had that he's not normally kind of accustomed to saying. So, it might be some kind of promotional type thing that they're doing. It's just the timing is really odd. Just really odd.
Very. Yeah. Imagine getting bought by Mixer for $30 million and then Mixer going under in 6 months. And then you just get to walk away with $30 million. Like that's crazy.
I wouldn't work a day after that.
Baba Shinga brought up a good point too. I forgot to mention. So Dr. Disrespect, he used to be part of the Slick Daddy Club. Like that was what he called his group. But he ended up cheating on his wife with a streamer. He was caught on tape interacting with girls at a bar from some other streamer, and then it ended up being linked that was the person he cheated, I believe, on with, and it became this big thing. He disappeared for a long time and came back with the Champions Club, which is what he has now. But he turned it into this big marketing thing, so it became a huge thing. And like Baba Shinga said, he also filmed people while he was in a bathroom at E3, and he got like a 2 or 3 week ban for that. So like he said, he has had some questionable behavior in the past. So who knows? Who knows what this is?
How old is Dr. Disrespect?
He's 38.
Yeah, I thought he's old.
He's old for the video game community for sure. Yeah.
He's acting like a freaking 16-year-old.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. Sounds like you in high school, M2.
I didn't take video of people in the bathroom.
Yeah, no, I know, but
I was a Hellraiser though.
Yeah, just in regards to just being raising shenanigans and stuff, and yeah, nothing criminal.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to say about that? Like, I know it's pretty crazy, and yeah, I'm definitely having to look into it more after after the episode for sure. But yeah. All right. Well, moving on from that kind of depressing stuff with people just being jerks and idiots, like M2 said, it shouldn't be hard to be, a decent human being, but apparently it is. Normally we would go into the comment of the week. We did get some nice comments on different videos saying we did a good job and just in having some input on different things, but nothing we can really debate. So if you do have a comment that is kind of controversial or just like we encourage all comments on any platform, whether it's even just leaving reviews on Apple or comments on YouTube. We encourage you to leave any comment and asking a question about the podcast or anything at all, and we will we would love to respond to it. Okay, I think it's ready. I think it is time to get into the topic of the week. Okay, so the topic today, and I think it's I came across this topic from an article from IGN originally. And IGN sent out a questionnaire to a bunch of different game developers and people in the industry. Essentially, I can't remember what the three questions were, but they asked three questions to the exact same three questions to all these different people. And the questions were basically along the lines of, what will gaming look like in the year 2030? So that was the gist of it, right? So I kind of want to this is going to be a bit more of an open cast. I'll have a few leading questions, but I just kind of want to just leave it there. Like, generally, what do you think gaming is going to be like in 2030 compared to now? 10 years from now, what do you think E3 at 2030? What are they going to show there, assuming there is an E3? But, like in general, what kind of gaming experiences can we expect in 2030? Anyone want to start?
I was giving it some thought, and I thought the first thing I saw is 2030, and I thought, wow, the far future of 2030. And then I realized, oh no, that's not that far away.
No.
I think gaming is going to look a lot like how it looks now. I think we're still going to be using a keyboard and mouse. We're still going to be looking at a screen. We're still going to be using a controller. Certain aspects of how your game is being played might change. I know there's a lot of love for the Google Stadia. I think by 2030 there's going to be a lot more of that, including your OS. It's going to be hosted on a system that isn't even local in your home.
Interesting. Okay, so we'll start there. So you're thinking that streaming essentially is going to become mainstream. Are you saying like Stadia's do you think Stadia specifically is going to be big in 2030 or just similar models?
Just a hosted streaming service like Stadia. I don't know. Google is quick to drop anything that they develop. Like Google gets bored with its products within 10 minutes and then it drops it for a new one. So
killedbygoogle.com.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my money on Stadia, but I think part of it it's kind of it's something that's not going to start with gaming. It's going to start with other things. It's going to start with you like turning on your cell phone, and your cell phone OS is actually being processed on another server somewhere, or your desktop OS, or your Xbox and Sony, your PlayStation and whatnot. You're going to turn it on, and it's not actually running your OS, just displaying a video. There's a giant data center somewhere else that's running it.
Yeah.
So,
which is pretty nuts, right? Like that means like you don't need powerful hardware essentially, because everything is being processed from a server, right, or a streaming data center, like you said.
Yeah, it has the opportunity to have much better fidelity and graphics and whatnot, but there's a lot more scarier downsides, in my opinion. I'm sure there's lots to cover with that.
Yeah, no, for sure. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think? And I know we kind of touched on this with the Stadia discussion a few episodes ago, but do you guys think that's also going to be the case? Do you think streaming will be the more mainstream method for playing games?
More so, yeah. I don't know about whether that will replace much, but certainly more so. There's something coming out in October called Shadow, and that's pretty much exactly what M2 was kind of talking about. It's literally a virtual desktop over the cloud, that you can obviously download whatever games you want through to that. But they're already boasting just a 16 millisecond increase from what a PC would be, which is light years
Okay.
ahead of everything else. So,
Which is not bad. I mean, it's
it's not bad considering Stadia was upwards of 50. So,
Yeah.
certainly better. But obviously giving you the added advantage of a full computer, having the entire computer on the cloud.
Yeah.
So I think that's promising. Similar price points, anywhere from $10 to $25 a month. But
You say it's called Shadow?
Shadow, yeah.
Oh, I haven't actually heard of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can pre-order or like save room on their servers or whatever now for like $10. But that looks interesting.
Okay.
So I have a question about that, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what is the sort of minimum required bandwidth that you need? Because, like, is it acceptable for DSL in rural areas, sort of thing?
They're saying you need at least 20 down, which is
okay.
pretty reasonable for most gamers, certainly.
Yeah.
Or you can run it fine over a 5G Wi-Fi network or whatever. But I think they're focusing more on the more bandwidth you give it, the faster the connection will be.
Interesting. Okay.
The connection latency will probably play a big part as well. You
Yeah.
compare the latency between a fiber connection and a DSL or cable connection. You're like it's a world of difference. The latency itself. But
So, if streaming was like maybe by 2030, maybe latency, like I don't know, maybe this isn't possible at all, but maybe latency will be a thing of the past. How cool would that be? But assuming it is, then I guess streaming would automatically be mainstream. Like why would you need to use like a console or anything like that?
Well, it's the same principle as why you want to own physical games rather than digital games. Like it's some people, I think some people will still want to have their own consoles with their own cartridges or their own like owning their game versus streaming it for a monthly fee or whatever through.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there'll be a bit of a battle of, and yeah, maybe streaming will go mainstream. Who knows? Like in 10 years, maybe it will. But that might if that'll really be determined on the next generation coming up, and if they place value in like building their own computers and all that stuff. That's kind of a big thing right now. So
Sure.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think that compete with it. But yes, if you can pay a small monthly fee and run, the equivalent of a $10,000 computer for that with no input lag and it looks perfect on your screen or whatever, then it's going to be hard to beat that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just from a pure price point, exactly.
I don't know if I necessarily agree on the mouse and keyboard thing, because yes, the mouse and keyboard thing is a big deal right now for us, but we're old. And so we are part of that generation of mouse and keyboard gamers. We're by 2030, we're for the most part going to be in our 40s, I think, right? So like there's going to be a whole new generation of gamers coming up, and like I'm a big advocate for VR. VR hasn't fully taken off yet, obviously, but they're talking about I'm reading articles here now about haptic vests that are really close. The whole thing in Ready Player One, those treadmill things, they're working on prototypes for those and trying to get them to a cost point. Sounds ridiculous right now, right? But think about 2010, right? Like in terms of 10 years ago where we were compared to now, it's not that far-fetched to think that you could have a fully immersive tactile feedback, haptic feedback model by 2030. And
I think that's probable, actually.
VR is still very primitive. So, but the thing that, and I own VR. I have VR sitting right next to me, and I haven't used it in a long time. You do too, Kelthar, and
I do too.
Right?
Yeah,
it's just for whatever reason, it's amazing. When I play it, I love it. It's amazing. But sometimes, like it's like the whole thing, mouse and keyboard. Sometimes you just want to relax and stay comfortable and not deal with the VR piece for whatever reason. But it is incredible technology. So it'll be interesting to see how that evolves, and also if the new generation of gamers that come up are, kind of that's kind of the mainstream for them, or they're used to that, and then mouse and keyboard maybe fizzles out. Who knows?
I think you're giving the new generation of gamers too much credit. I think what's going to happen is it's not going to be VR or anything fancy. It's going to be one of these.
It's the children who are wrong.
Is that that's a phone, right?
Is that a TV
Yeah.
remote? What the hell are you talking
I was gonna say
about?
that's a giant phone. Holy
It's an
crap!
iPhone. No,
Is
this
this
is it's an iPhone S.
Is this an early
That
April
looks
Fool's joke?
massive.
They're just
I see
getting
what you did there.
longer.
I think Matt's video is stretched horizontally or something.
Yeah,
Is
maybe.
it- I was
No.
holding
It
it
has to
quite-
be. That's
Hey,
no
look
way.
at-
That's
I've got an iPhone the size of my head. Look at that. No, it's a normal size phone. But I think the new generation of kids, they're not gonna own computers, they're not gonna own Xboxes, they're not gonna own any of that. It's all gonna be on their cell phone.
That's
And-
a good point. Yeah, and I was gonna bring that up. Do you like mobile gaming in the last even 10 years, like when iPhones started to become popular, and I guess it was probably 08 maybe that happened. But do you think mobile gaming is going to be the primary source of gaming for most people of all age groups? Again, maybe not our age group. Maybe we're the age group that sticks with our mouse and keyboards. But do you think most kids growing up are going to be mobile gaming and ditch Xboxes and all that kind of stuff?
I think it already is.
Yeah.
Oh, but I can't. How does that UI work? How does that work?
Oh, I mean, you could play Fortnite on one of these.
Yeah.
But can you?
We have. I have certainly.
These Zoomer kids somehow can. I can't. I've tried playing.
well,
stuff
you
on
can
this
you can
and-
put a controller on it. You can. It's all
That's
they're
a
all
good
Bluetooth
point.
and everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh,
Right.
I see. Okay.
I think yes, it will become the mainstream. I honestly think maybe not within the next 10 years, but certainly within the next 20. I think this is kind of the last of the console generations, and I think most companies will start moving once the latency on the cloud stuff goes to even 10, even 15 ms. I think things will start to become apps instead of consoles. I think there'll be an Xbox app and a PlayStation app. I think one of the only companies that won't do that will be Nintendo. And I think they'll really try to stick with physical copies. And I mean, obviously you can download their games, but they've always been more of a company that feels like your game systems should be, toys and like an actual toy you can hold and feel.
Yeah, I think Nintendo will always have physical things, but they are moving into the mobile sphere, right?
And they do have apps, and I mean, I know Mario's an app, and they've got
Poke MOBA now. There's a Pokemon MOBA, League of Legends.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Good lord.
Goodness.
Yeah, for sure. Erebus, I think I cut you off there. Were you gonna say something?
No, I just think the cell phone thing, it will take off. The thing with Nintendo though, Nintendo Switch is way behind in hardware technology and all that stuff. We talked about that before, and it's still one of the best. It is their best-selling console, I think, right? The Switch is
I believe it passed the Wii. The Wii U had a lot.
I think it just did, right? It's the fastest selling one for sure.
Yeah,
but there is still a massive market of people that are buying Switches that at a young age, and I know lots of people that I work with, their kids are playing Fortnite on Xbox and different things like that. So I think it's still going to be there. The mobile one is an interesting one, and you almost kind of think when you watch Black Mirror and forward-thinking shows like that, all of their technology is just in the palm of their hand. So is it a phone that you hit a button and you play it on your screen and that's all you need, right? Is every game going to go through a phone, and phones are just going to be powerful enough to run anything at max down the road, right? So I think that would be their phone is where they're making the most money for sure. That's where they I'm sure they all want it to go. That's where everybody's spending their money on microtransactions and all that stuff.
But I think if we think outside the box a little bit, we're thinking still of using fingers on a phone and tapping buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
If you think of games that are AR, right? They started with phones, you could move your phone and use the phone's camera and shoot down alien ships and stuff, or even a game like Pokemon Go, right? It's obviously very primitive in how it works, but if you can play a game in AR, again, think 10 years from now, and you're using your phone, and you could use voice commands or gestures or something. I don't know, but maybe you don't need to actually have a controller or push buttons on the screen, and right, it could be something like that.
I 100% agree. I think it's going to be the user interface that changes, or the way that we're playing games in general.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that'd be super cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking on that, I think one of the more promising things, maybe a little beyond 10 years, but Neuralink. I don't know if anyone's heard of Neuralink. It's a company owned by Tesla that's actually connecting computers to your brain.
Wow.
And they have demos of this. They have a full. It's already a year old. They've released their not demo, but they've released their information last year. Just talking about and showing like these strands of like nothing, like almost air, just like floating around that they with tiny computers insert into your brain. And they were talking about just drill a small hole in your head.
Oh my
Computer
God.
does all the work, stick it in. And they actually said they'll be starting human trials sometime early 2021.
Wow.
Yeah, which is nuts. But
Wow.
that's mostly for people that have limited or no motor function. So they're saying they can actually make it so that if you think that you're moving your hand, you will actually be moving your hand and moving your legs. And I think the guy talking about it, well, Elon Musk was talking about it for a while, but he passed it off to the guy running the Neuralink, and he did move more towards gaming at one point, saying that this will be led into gaming stuff, so that you think it and it will happen in the game. And I don't think they're necessarily on the visual aspect, so it's not like full non-matrix you plug in and you're there. But even just looking at a screen and plugging in and thinking about what you do would be
That's
ridiculous.
nuts, man.
Yeah.
That is so
So,
cool.
has anybody heard of conductive like bone audio?
You mean like the things that attach to the bone on the back of your ear, and you can hear it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, like, this is a thing that exists, and it's usually used, as I understand it, for like cochlear implants. But you actually can get this implanted. They remove a bone and they put the device in that conducts directly to the base of your skull. So if you had like a Bluetooth attachment, you could use that for your phone. You could use that for audio in a game if it was just Bluetooth connected. Like the idea of
Man.
optional prosthetics like that.
Now I kind of want to know how a game would properly utilize this kind of stuff, like the Neuralink, because I saw the Joe Rogan with Elon Musk talking about Neuralink and how basically like you can take the fastest computer in the world, and no matter what, the slowest thing about that computer is the human being that needs to input data into it. The amount of bandwidth between a computer and a human is ridiculously slow because you're limited by what you can do with your hands.
Yeah.
You can't put data into a computer that fast. Now, if you do have this Neuralink, and a developer has this amazing technology, what do they do with it? I mean, you're not going to sit there and play chess with your Neuralink. Like, what kind of games could come out of that, I wonder?
Yeah, and it's hard to even like imagine, right? Like,
yeah, like I can't even imagine like what the possibilities are.
yeah, and the amount of creativity developers and all them are going to be able to use like for making this stuff, like, and maybe this won't be in 10 years time, like, and maybe it will. I don't know, because technology is like going at a ridiculously fast rate, right? Even like every decade, like if you look back every decade, like the advances are huge.
I feel like a big thing is information density in a way. So like if you had the implant I was talking about and it was connected to your phone and your phone was connected to Google Stadia and you had something in your fingers almost that could be tracked as well. Like it's a mixture of VR without the heavy hardware. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think VR specifically will laugh at the headsets in 10 years, like that we have now.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Like the
Yeah.
big bulky
Yeah.
headsets, like they'll have something nuts, I'm sure, in 10 years.
Something I read about was you can get, I don't know if it's something that exists or they're currently developing, but it's a type of contact lens you can put in your eye that is essentially an AR technology. So it's almost like you get your own HUD, right? And you can like probably like have like the weather in the top left or like all these different things, right? Or it could show like your BPM or all sorts of different things. And I just think that'd be cool. Like you're just walking down the street and you always have this digital view on the go all the time. Or maybe you get a text message and it's just pops up. You don't need to look at your phone. You just see a actual text from these contact lenses. I see M2 shaking your head. What's going on?
I do not want a computer interfacing with me in any way that I can't immediately rip off of my wrist.
Right. Well, I mean, you could just like pull it out of your eye, I suppose. But.
The TV show Altered Carbon actually sort of had that in a way, but an issue that happened in it was adware and spam. So you could be in the middle of nature and be surrounded by ads.
Yeah.
Shock images.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Something
You can't alt tab. What's the human shortcut for alt tab?
I would
make it go away.
But I assume there would be a way to power it off or something. But
I was gonna say just close your eyes, but that's just not gonna work.
that is true.
You're sleeping and you get an advertisement.
But that'd be cool too. You go to sleep and then like you could have it visualized like, I don't know, like every time you open your eyes. Or no, that's not going to work. You close your if you close your eyes, then you have to close your eyes again to not see what you want to see.
How do you close your eyes again?
I don't know.
Blink? You mean blink?
You blink, yeah.
So imagine if it was augmented reality, and you could go about your day-to-day business with a sort of filter over anything you wanted. So you could have like fantasy mode or sci-fi mode almost, right? That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But what happens if people filter you? And I know there's a Black Mirror episode on
Yeah.
that. I'm sort of, I have this love-hate relationship with Black Mirror. I think it's kind of lazy sci-fi, to be honest. But I think a lot of the concepts that they present are things that are quite relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can have this filter, well, what happens if you say something that maybe people don't agree with?
Yeah.
And they decide to just filter you out. You go to a coffee shop and nobody will serve you because you've been filtered out.
Interesting stuff. This is cool. This is very intriguing. Yeah, it's again, I don't know if all this stuff is 10 years away or not, but like you never know. It could be.
I think what's closer to 10 years, if they can get the cloud gaming to work properly, is I think in general this is going to be the thing, is a combination of a lot of stuff. So if they can get that cloud gaming, I'm really looking forward to something like VR cloud gaming. Being able to utilize the wireless headset like the Quest, but also have the power of a computer through the cloud.
I'd say
that'd probably be the best case for it. Because then you don't have to spend you don't have to buy a 2080 Ti and stuff to make it work. You just
and be plugged in by any means. You have full computer
and
power.
And that is the biggest barrier of entry, right? Is the price. Like you need like a beast of a machine to run it, let alone buy the headset separately and stuff. So like it is getting cheaper, all the time, but it's still big price. I know the Go and the Quest or whatever, the cheapest options, I think they're are they 300?
Quest is the same as the Rift, the 549.
Oh, it's that high. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not bad for a full system. I mean, it's obviously not got the capability of a full PC, but
yeah,
it's pretty good.
But it's comparable to if you're buying an Xbox or something. But
oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So do you guys think VR? Like I know we said mobile gaming might be the main source, Blake. Do you think VR is going to be like huge in 2030, or do you think it's going to kind of fizzle out?
I think it's going to get big again because mobile games are getting big. They have right now like those cardboard boxes you can put your phone into for that pseudo VR experience.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Was that Google Cardboard or something?
Yeah.
I've never actually done that, but I've heard I heard it actually works better than what you'd expect.
Yeah, it does.
I think if VR gets to the price point of the same, like something really cheap, eventually, like it becomes like just an accessory to every computer, like a mouse, a keyboard, a good monitor, and like you can get a cheap VR setup. Eventually, I think it would be. I think if they had that now, it would be a lot more popular. I think, like you said, the biggest barrier to entry is the price. Like, I haven't shown. I've demoed VR for quite a few people, and I have not seen a negative reaction to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need to figure out the motion sickness thing that affects a lot of people. There's a lot of people that get affected by that, and hopefully with the technology as they improve it, it'll help people with that. but that's like the only thing, like the actual immersion and like if they get if the I'm trying to think. It's hard to like these are what these creative people do, but just thinking of where they can take it and if it's in a better smaller form factor, like the Quest is cool because you could take it. I could take the Quest to the cabin and play VR out in the middle of a field if I wanted to. That's like the appeal of that.
Yeah.
So if they build on that and just make it kind of accessible wherever you want, almost like a Switch is, I can see it going somewhere.
Yeah.
I think for that, the price, like you said, would have to decrease a little bit. But even like $300, like get a monitor for $300, it's half decent. They can drop it to like $300. They can decrease the weight a little bit, or at least distribute the weight a little bit, make it a little bit more form factor, a little smaller. I know there is a company that has actually created like goggles as opposed to like a full visor.
Yeah,
they've got these very small goggles, like glasses almost. If they can get that plus the price, if they can also get the pixel density of the individual screens down, just to give it a little bit of extra clarity, then I can't see it not replacing monitors in general. And you just sit down and you put on your glasses and you've got full access to everything, hand tracking, away you go. You're done.
Well, some people think like it's that good that like you can sit in a movie theater. Right now they have that big picture mode. You can sit in a movie theater with your friends and watch a movie. The problem is, like you said, is currently the quality of the screen is not the same as like a 4K resolution that you can get on a screen. But I mean, I can picture it like we're on we go to bed, half the time you go to bed and you're just, what are you doing? You're scrolling through your phone. If you can throw on some form factor, easy to use headset and go into a VR world before you go to sleep, sounds ridiculous now because no one would take that headset and put it in bed with them, right? But maybe I guess a lot of people do, right? But if you had like a small thing that you could just attach to your brain, and
get that Neuralink going.
Yeah, like stick it up your ear like a Yerk from Animorphs, and crawl into your brain, and then Neuralink you in, and then you just or even activate it in your sleep or something crazy like that. Who knows? Yeah. But the other thing too that I wanted to mention too, like I don't know if this is on your list, Kelthar, but it's also like where you because the topic is gaming in 2030. Like, think about the most popular games right now: battle royale games, MOBAs, Souls-like games, like roguelite games have made like a huge kind of comeback almost from from years and years ago. Like, that's the current. In 2010, that was not where games were at all. Like, not even close. So it's like
there are games from 2010 that are still, the genres are still here.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying.
But there's a lot of new ones as well.
They're here, but they're not the most popular. They're not even close. The most popular genre on Twitch right now by far is MOBAs and battle royale games. Yeah, like they're by far the most popular. So it's almost like, are they going to take free to play games, take that free to play model that Fortnite and everything has been so successful on, just build on that, right? Are we going to have paid games in 2030? Are we going to have like games that you go to the store and buy, or is it going to be just, I don't know, like is it going to be cloud-based games like Athricus has said?
I think it's going to be either subscription or free to play, to be honest. I think that's going to be the majority, if I had to guess.
You know what I find myself actually really excited for? Like AI developments and seeing what's going to end up happening with like simulation games, like 4X style simulation games, where it's like an epic strategy situation. As processors get better, maybe AI is going to get better. And then we can see like what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the AI. Like, imagine like when you're trying to beat a game and the AI is like, if they literally have like an impossible mode with an AI that you cannot beat in a certain kind of game, right? Like, yeah,
well, so not just competitive though. Like, what if the game is AI based, right? Like, I'm not sure if you are familiar with like Stellaris or EU4 from Paradox Interactive, but like you have to rely on your own AI. You have to set conditions for the AI in order to do things properly in a way. It's interesting.
I'm actually more interested in AI created games. I think that's going to be more of a big thing. Is being, and it currently is a thing. They ran. I think it was Mario and Kirby through an AI system, and it actually created a completely new game that was closer to Mega Man. And it was all AI created games.
Really? With
then,
no human input whatsoever?
Other than here is Mario, here is Kirby, make a game. And it made a game that was very similar to Mega Man.
Really? I'd like to look more into that.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a full game. But I mean, just being able to create, like, not have to put so much time and effort into creating a world and whatnot, when you can just say, here's 100 games, build me a world based off of all of these, and then within like an hour it's created a massive to scale Earth style thing.
It's basically like a evolution of what procedural generation is.
I was going to say the exact same thing. It sounds like procedurally generated, but
but like on a
crazy
Minecraft
scale.
level.
Minecraft,
absolutely. It's already here, guys.
Minecraft is the best.
I know you love it, man.
In full 8-bit graphics.
It's a landmark game of our time. I'm telling you.
Full open world. No, it's not a sandbox, but whatever.
Yeah, the most unlinear game I've ever seen.
Yes, exactly. You want to play a game where it looks the same whether you're legally blind or not. In Minecraft.
But I mean, just in talking about Minecraft for a second,
God,
it'll only be a second. It's fine. It's just relax. I mean, if you look at Minecraft for just 2 seconds and look how basic and garbage those graphics are, but then take the AI ray tracing and just compare it, it goes from garbage to actually gorgeous, and that's entirely AI lighting.
AI is really evolving. Like, and the thing, what was that thing in StarCraft called that they put in, like that really fancy AI system? You guys know what I'm talking about.
In StarCraft?
Yeah. Oh my God, Propzilla's in the chat. He knows what I'm talking about. They created this really, really fancy AI system that was destroying like the top players in the world, like adaptive AI in like RTS games and stuff.
Oh, okay. And that's kind of like what I was getting at, right? Like saying, like creating an AI that is so powerful, like it literally cannot be beaten.
And yeah, so they put it on ladder, and it was in like Grandmaster rank, and it was playing, and they played it at like tournaments and stuff like that. It's crazy, like the way that they're, and like that's a complicated game to have an AI in and actually be competitive against these top players. So it's AI is an interesting topic for sure to see where that takes games, because like geez man, if what Athricus is saying about the Mario thing, I mean, it's gonna put a lot of developers out of work if they can just like,
or give developers more time to create amazing stories and concepts and stuff that AI might not be able to do yet.
That's true.
I'm sure that's a controversial topic though, because it can an AI ever create a world that's as handcrafted as somebody who developed World of Warcraft or all those games with very intricate, detailed worlds? Could an AI do something to that level?
Well, I mean, technically, we could be in an AI simulation right now.
We're gonna go here, are we?
Yeah, that's
Matrix 4.
I can't believe Matrix 4 is coming. That's nuts.
I know.
I love it. The Wachowski sisters. Bring it.
No.
Right
yeah.
M2, did you want to weigh in on the AI discussion? Do you have anything to say about that?
I don't know that I want to play a game that's made by AI. Like, I understand like procedural generation is something that AI does, but a game made from scratch by AI, it's like eating a meal that was made by AI. Like the AI has no idea what makes a good meal. It knows how to combine things.
You say that, but what if I tell you the name of the 2 games that the AI seemed to create that I just found out?
It created them from scratch?
No, this is the one that. Yeah, this is the one that Athricus was talking about. There was Killer Bounce and Death Wall.
I'll have to Google those. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those.
I mean, I just hear those names and I need to play it.
Yeah, Killer
Those names are
Bounce
pretty.
sounds like
Those names are pretty awesome, to be honest.
the AI must have generated the name too.
Did the AI
Death
come up
Wall.
with the name?
What was the other one? Something bad. What was it? Killer Bounce.
Killer Bounce. So the idea in Killer Bounce is that your avatar is constantly bouncing, but every time it lands on a pixel, it destroys that pixel. So you have to keep moving before you run out of space to land on.
It's like that Pokemon that has to keep bouncing or else it dies.
It's hard stuff. That's right.
What?
That
Oh, I
pig.
see.
It's
What
a
Pokemon
pig.
is that?
It's true.
Oh yeah, I've just looked up a video of it here. It's basically like upside down breakout, and you have to keep the ball. That's what it is. You're hitting a wall, and you have to keep it from escaping.
And they
it
made that
looks
from
like-
Mario and
it-
Kirby?
It looks like Breakout for the Atari 2600 as well.
Sounds like pretty advanced AI to me.
It does look interesting. I'll have to read more into that.
Yes, thank you, Albondio. The Pokemon's name is Spoink, and it's
Spoink?
Yes. It's like a pig-looking Pokemon. Athricus, your mic is muted, by the way. It's like a pig Pokemon that's on like a coiled spring, and it just bounces and bounces and bounces.
God.
But if it just...
I'll read the Pokedex entry. I can't find it anymore. But it's pretty. Spoink bounces around on its tail. The shock of its bouncing makes its heart pump. As a result, this Pokemon can't afford to stop bouncing. If it stops, its heart will stop.
Like, this is a
real
kid's
Pokemon?
game.
That sounds
I know.
dark.
Oh, I know. That was the Ruby's Pokedex entry. There's
Yeah,
a bunch of
there's a lot of twisted Pokedex entries out there. That's a whole other discussion, but like, man.
Anything higher than 150 was a mistake.
I'll take 250.
Mistake?
Yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't have got Mewtwo Strikes Back, the first movie, man.
151. Fine.
There you go. Thank you. That's
Hey,
acceptable.
like, what is Mewtwo against like a Cloyster or something? That wouldn't have been as fun.
Battle of the century. Cloister's got terrible special defense. That won't help. That's it. Yeah. Anyways,
Calm down.
It doesn't matter, dude. Aurora Beam slays.
all right. Let's get this back on track. Let's switch gears for a second. What do you guys think about the graphics in 2030? So think back to like even like 2000 and then 2010 and then now, where there's obviously huge leaps and bounds from where we've come from.
Yeah.
What do you think
I don't-
2030 might look like? Go ahead, Recky, sorry.
I don't know what I want. Like, but like, do I want photorealism? You know, like, do I want Uncanny Valley? Does that help me enjoy a game more? There are some games that are absolutely beautiful now. You know, especially with lighting development,
Yeah.
it's absolutely incredible.
Ray tracing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe seeing where that goes, especially, and you know, just come back to the user interfaces. There are some limitations with what screens can do for us, as well, right? Like, I don't know what the alternative is. Like maybe contacts would be better, like those AR contacts. Maybe you can actually get a higher fidelity resolution that is more indistinguishable from reality.
Maybe. Yeah, because you'd think there'd have to be a limit, right? Like even like
Yeah.
the if you look at like the Forza games and like different car games, especially like those games look real now,
Yeah.
like a lot of them. So like I feel like there's only so good you can make that, and I mean I don't know, I'm probably
Yeah.
wrong, but I
I
don't
feel
know.
like it's slowed down. Like it's not. If I look at 2010 games to now versus 2000 to 2010, I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I don't think there was that dramatic of a leap. They're obviously better, but like when was Crisis released?
Crisis was 2007.
Right. So
So
Crisis,
I was thinking Crisis as well.
yeah, like Crisis is still in today's world still a good looking game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And still has trouble running on some computers as far as I know. But the
Does it
yeah,
really?
so like I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah, like the game was like insane at the time. But the that's what I mean. Like I haven't seen like a big, and like from what I've read online in the limited knowledge I have on computer technology, like the power of computers is increasing, but it's not. It's creating like more efficiency and stuff like that. Like I don't know if I don't know. Like obviously 4K gaming at the bare minimum will become mainstream, and then maybe 8K gaming or whatever they're going to call it. So like the graphical fidelity and pixel density and all that stuff will go up, but will the actual the leap we saw from SNES to N64 and that kind of stuff, like will we ever see that again? I don't know. Like where do they take it?
I think in general there's going to be severe diminishing returns, and I think we're getting to that point where it's just, yes, it's getting better, but it's not going to get so much better. Like if you look at the past 20 years, That's a pretty darn big jump.
Big jump, yeah.
That looks great, but I think in 20 years from now or 10 years from now, it'll be the equivalent of what, 2 or 3 years.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I feel like they've maximized what I think M2 said that or something. Like screens are pretty much at like where they can go unless they bring something out that we're not aware of. Obviously, like some new technology that involves screens. But I feel like the next step is some new technology that maybe we can't even picture right now.
I think what's going to happen is the games are going to get to a point where they look so good, but instead of making them look better, they're just going to add more. So the amount of things you see on the screen is going to multiply. Like if you think of games like Cyberpunk that's coming out, right? Like the amount of stuff happening in that game on the streets and like all the people interacting and all this kind of stuff. I think that's what is going to become huge, right? Like you're playing game like this, especially these big open world RPG type games. Just the amount of interactions and details on characters' faces and stuff. Like it's not gonna, it might look photorealistic or it might not, but the amount of things you see, I think, is going to be the big change.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that, or
you think it's going to feel more like real life, not necessarily look more like real life?
I think so, right? Because there's still games now. Like when you're playing a game, you can tell you're playing a game versus when you're watching a movie, right? But there's some cinematic or games that have really good cinematics that like, oh wow, that like it's happened to me a few times when I have to do a double take. I'm like, oh wait, no, that's not a movie, or that's not a real life shot scene. That's CGI, right? That's happened to me a couple times. It's rare, but it does happen. I feel like those experiences are going to be like, oh, it's most things are photorealistic, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they'll start doing that. Like, and they're already doing that in games like The Witcher, and Cyberpunk will have it too. I think Cyberpunk's marketing has said that every NPC or most NPCs have a full like day-night cycle in terms of what they do, like in terms of where they go. Like they have like, tasks and goals and different things that they do, and it's different every day and stuff like that. So, yeah, I can see it becoming basically adding to the immersion of the game and making it less scripted.
Yeah.
So.
No, exactly. That's for sure. Baba Shinga made a good point too. The in the PS5 reveal, they showed the new Ratchet and Clank game, and they're showing way more particles and NPC density. Again, it's just more stuff happening at once. Not necessarily looking amazing, but it's just so much on the go.
And you can see that too with the size of games nowadays. Honestly, as well, like games are huge. The amount of actual data. It's gone up so much.
Warzone is like what 250 gigs at this point now. Like,
it's a bit ridiculous
being that big.
That's 100% true. Yeah.
But
Propzilla said a good thing too. That's something I didn't think about. That's a big difference. Is a lot of the games we played when we like GTA and stuff like that when we were over the last few years, like the pop in, like that. I hate pop in now. Like it drives me nuts. I was playing a game called Dragon's Dogma, I think is what it's called, and like I couldn't get into it because the pop-in, it's a good game, but the pop-in was driving me nuts compared to something like Breath of the Wild, where that's like not there. So like draw distance is definitely something that has gotten way better.
That's a good point for sure,
and is adds to the immersion that they're doing a lot better with, and could evolve.
There'd be a limit to that as well. Like you don't have to. It doesn't have to be infinite. Like eventually it'll. Depending on the game, but I mean, you get to the curvature of the Earth, and there will be some sort of end to it. So, we don't have to go too much. Well, obviously, we've got a ways to go, but there will be an end to that.
It's interesting in the technology. I forget what it was called, but I saw a video on YouTube. It's like a top-down view of what they do in like Fallout and all those types of games, where they only render what you see, like what your field of view is, and everything else is like not rendered at all. And then as you turn and move around, it renders. That's how they solved. I think my understanding is that's how they solved some of the pop-in issues, is by reducing the strain by only rendering what you see.
There's a lot of talk in about that for VR as well, and being able to severely decrease the strain on the system. Because, when you turn around, things just disappear and they don't have to be there anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
So if they can figure that out, they can utilize more power, which would just exponentially increase everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. M2, did you have anything to say about any of this, about graphics particularly?
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting that that you compare it to, like, you can always tell that you're playing a game and you're not watching a movie, for example. Like, you can quite clearly see a movie will always be like as realistic as possible, but a game will almost never reach that status. And I think partially it's that a computer can't really create something that looks like real life. Like, even a static image, it's quite difficult. It takes a lot of rendering time to actually render out something that would fool you into thinking that it's a photograph.
Yeah.
So,
but
I
in
think,
2030, will this problem be solved?
Well, say in 2030, like, everybody's playing, I don't know, like 8K resolution is standard or something like that. I mean, we have 8K resolution now. If you're just like watch a video in 8K versus 4K, can you tell the difference? You've hit that point of diminishing return, I think, by the time it reaches that kind of fidelity. Especially if you're on a screen that's like a normal screen, like you're sitting in front of now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But I think that's what it is. It's the graphics will reach a point where it's just there will be diminishing returns, and maybe it moves from, instead of just using monitors, then we switch to maybe just making VR more clear, more crisp, having 8K lenses in that or something. And yeah.
You'd also have to add, at some point, once all this dies down, your eye can only see so much so quickly. FPS, I mean, sure, you can do 240 or 260 or whatever, but severe diminishing returns. Eventually, you're going to have to add another element. You've got your visual, you've got your audio. Give me some sort of feel with like haptic feedback.
Yes,
taste and smell. Like there's stuff you can add there.
That's a good point. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start bringing in the other senses, right? That'd be insane.
I don't want my other senses brought into a video game.
Well, we've got headphones. We'll have headphones in our ears, and eventually we'll have headphones in our nose for smell.
Smello-vision.
Yeah, smell-vision. Yeah.
But it's true. Imagine playing like a deep open world RPG, like even like, I don't know, like Red Dead Redemption or something, and then you're just walking around a town and you go into a bar and then all of a sudden you smell like cigarette smoke and all that kind of stuff. Like how immersive would that be, right? Of course, it would probably be terribly damaging to you depending on what they use.
Secondhand smoke.
Real immersive. You can smell the big fat guy in the bar standing beside you that hasn't showered in a week.
BO.
Yeah.
So on that topic, there is a company called Epidermal VR. And I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but they're making and have already started to produce almost like a skin-like haptic suit that doesn't require any straps, doesn't require any tape to attach to you. It kind of just molds around any body part you want it to, and it's a full haptic feedback suit that kind of just, again, molds around you. You don't have to like strap it and stick it. Their next rendition of that is to add heating and cooling. And some of the stuff they were talking about was, you step out of the house in the VR game and you can feel the heat from the sun on the back of your neck or the cool raindrops on your arms when it's raining.
That would be super cool. Yeah.
I think that would be disgusting. I think it would be so good.
You sound pretty excited about this, Athricus.
I'm pretty excited about that, yeah.
And what's the name of the company or the product itself?
The product is Epidermal VR.
Okay.
Not to be mistaken with epidural VR.
Oh, God.
I can see your epidermis.
Baby delivery VR.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's coming now.
Yeah, with haptic feedback.
Somebody's going to pay for it.
How long can you stand the pain before you have to get the epidural? That's the game.
With leaderboards and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
The suit is just a bunch of needles that keep going in and out of you. How long can you do this?
Yeah.
It's basically just a torture simulator at that point. Yeah. Man. What else can we discuss? I was thinking, like, we talked a lot about like subscription services are becoming more and more popular. Do you think it's more of like a fad? Do you think like they're eventually going to die away, or do you think that's going to be kind of the main approach that people are taking to gaming, like subscribing and.
I think the subscription model is taking over every facet of entertainment. Lots of cord cutters now. I just cut the cord myself. I canceled my TV a couple weeks ago.
Are we still talking
And,
about
I'm just
epidural
using-
VR?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be cutting the cord in like 3 or 4 weeks here. But the where was I going with this? Oh, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, TV really is switching to streaming. Sports is switching to streaming and monthly stuff like that. Like I can't see gaming staying. I would probably go out and say that in 2030, I'd say it now, record me now, and I'll check this when I'm 43. Oh God. I really do think that you will not. Buying a game will be not a thing. I don't think it'll be a thing.
Won't be a thing.
I agree as well.
Like full battle passes,
I think
all the
it's
time.
all going to be through. I think it's going to be some monthly thing where you have access to the entire Xbox library or the entire Steam or whatever it is. Then some kind of PC model where you can just pay different monthly fees. I'd say there'll be tiers. They make way more money from that stuff. Way more.
I agree with that, but I don't even think it'll be 20 years before that's gone. I honestly don't think that'll be gone at all. I think it'll be reduced to single player games. If it's a full single player game, you'll pay your money and then that'll be it. Any sort of multiplayer, certainly competitive stuff will have that model for sure. But I think single players will be around in 2030.
I don't know if I agree with that because I view it as I view it the same. I look at what the movies are doing. Oh, I guess you can right now. You can buy a single movie, and pay pay money for it, but not very many people do that. So I don't know.
I feel like the option will always be there if you want to buy something, but maybe not. I don't know, but yeah.
Yes. They'll always have it there because they'll if they want to. But I think like a lot of these companies are going to try to lock it through a subscription service because they're going to want you to subscribe to lock into their stuff. So I don't know. I think subscriptions are kind of the way everything is going. People are getting subscriptions for food, for God's sake. They're getting like you buy like the HelloFresh and all that stuff that people do where they get food delivered to their house and stuff. You can buy subscriptions for everything. Like it's taken over everywhere.
I think by 2030, if a company releases a game that doesn't have a free-to-play option, they're dead.
I agree completely with you, M2. I think free-to-play, like what Fortnite and them have done, is premium games might be a thing of the past by 2030.
That's an interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you say that for single-player games too, or just multiplayer games?
I think we can't picture the model right now, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say with single player games because there are some single player games that are almost like a cinematic experience. It is almost like a movie, like what's the latest, The Last of Us 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's basically like kind of a cinematic experience. But I mean. Yeah, it is tough to picture the kind of model that, like the distribution model that would be around then too, that would actually support a single player game.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I'm really interested in too is going to be the social aspect of things. Seeing how, like, let's say Steam, just as an example, versus Epic, the Epic Game Store as it's developing with all of its freebies right now, if it continues to be a thing 10 years from now. More and more, I find this really interesting. In games like Rainbow Six and Dota, in order to play full ranked, you actually have to associate a phone number. If you start to do that and then you get banned from the service with all that progression you've put into it, that's pretty brutal. I mean, that's the way it is now, right? But is it going to become more comprehensive in a way? Like if all of these games are through these big game companies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I don't. That's hard to say.
It's almost like is gaming going to be, or like is online going to become? Because that's what you see in kind of the movies that depict the future and stuff. Is like you just have an avatar and you do everything with that avatar. Like it's almost like your social insurance number and everything's attached to it, and you're just like you go into these. It's almost like what's that game called, Second Life, where you go in and just like, so would that be a thing where you just have like everything is digital? I don't know.
I think it is.
That game had its entire own infrastructure. It was amazing when you read about it, how it all works. But like just being able to go into a virtual world shop, try things on in VR, clothing shop and stuff, order your stuff, order your food, do everything in VR, play games. Like eventually,
did I say that out loud?
But like COVID-19 stuff that's going on right now and the pandemic and everything, like where people are just becoming more and more, forced to stay inside. Will things evolve that way too, where we're just not, it becomes literally Fallout. We can't do anything. we're stuck. Apocalypse, everything.
Yeah. I think that'll be a thing though, like with online shopping for sure. You can put on your VR headset and then like Amazon will be like an app that you can literally like walk around, I don't know, like virtual stores and like actually, like you said, try on different things or look at different products or look at different things for your house. I don't know, anything like that. That'll be, I know it's not really gaming, but yeah, for sure.
That's almost where like the augmented reality comes in too. Like if you're looking to buy something on Amazon, you want to buy a new coffee machine or something, the augmented reality can show you that coffee machine on your counter and you can turn it around and see how big it is. Oh, is it going to fit under my cabinet there? Is it going to...
Oh, that'd be nuts.
I know that's not really gaming, but it's sort of in the same realm of what could happen.
No, definitely. Or even if you are walking around a physical store, like at Best Buy or something, and you have that contact in every TV you look at, automatically, like the price just bings in front of you, and you just know exactly what it costs. Or like if you want to just look at different specs, you can, I don't know, tap your head 3 times to get more details or something. I don't know. But yeah, no, for sure. Is there anything we haven't covered yet with this topic? I feel like we've gone through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you guys want to throw in before we move on? Or is there anything you're hoping for that you want to see by 2030? Or
I want to get ready to serve my robot overlords.
Yeah. I have a question. Do you think World of Warcraft will still be around in 2030?
Oh, I want World of Warcraft 2. I wanted World of Warcraft 2 5 years ago. Like,
yeah, I think we all do. It's indicative of where things have gone. Like for them to spend the resources and the time to build a world to that size and scale is, I don't think it's going to happen. But
not that I want to get into this, but I mean, I don't know if there's really a need for Warcraft 2. They'll just come out with an expansion and I assume it's the one after Shadowlands where everything is upgraded and updated. And I mean, there's currently talks of once you get back from Shadowlands, there's a massive time skip. The entire world's been updated. Everything looks different and better, whatever.
Wow.
So I don't know if there's any need to make a World of Warcraft 2.
I just want an engine update, like...
I'm pretty good with the engine. I don't know if I have any problems with it.
Oh man, it's way behind, man. Like the engine is okay, I guess, but the graphics are still.
The graphics are. I think I still say they're getting better, especially if you look at the what they're doing with the character customization and stuff. I think they're making it better over time.
Yeah,
I still feel like compared to other games, though, it's not. It's acceptable for WoW, but for comparison,
it's a style. I would call it a style.
They are doing everything they can with what they have right now. It's pretty impressive considering what they started with. If you look, however many years ago it started compared to now, it's looking pretty good. Absolutely. But
yeah,
I'm willing to bet that World of Warcraft will still be around in some form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's not. I would say Blizzard is probably going to come out with some kind of new MMO or some kind of new big experience to replace it.
I don't think they're going to make another one. Like, how do you make a world of that's like when you can make maybe another MMO will get created by another company, maybe, but like when you can make a battle royale game, like think about the think about the generation of gamers coming up. They don't care about us. They care about the new people coming in.
Yeah, and
the new people like. Someone sat down and said, let's throw 100 people into the same map over and over and over again and have a circle that shrinks, and it's last man standing, and that became a multi-billion-dollar thing, basically on its own. Like the games are much more like the popular and MOBAs and stuff like that. Like those are the things that are making money. Like MMOs are, but not nearly as much. Like for a time, like I remember when we were playing WoW, we were trying a new MMO every couple months.
Yeah.
There's new stuff coming out. Right? There was
That's
a big
true,
surge
yeah.
for it. And now
I miss
it's
City
like
of Villains.
Man, City Heroes, right? Aeon, I
Yeah.
think, came out,
Yeah.
and like there was all
That's
those different
true.
ones.
But we always came back to WoW, yeah.
The Matrix Online.
The Matrix Online, Star Wars, Galaxies, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot.
I think it really depends on what you mean by will WoW still be around. I mean, classic WoW is a thing, and if it continues, then classic Mists of Pandaria will be out by 2030. So
yeah. No,
technically still
yes. No, I'm sure it'll be around, but are they going to be, I guess, are they going to be releasing new expansions by then? Yeah. Yeah. Wildstar, yeah, Propzilla said that was another game that was fun too.
Wildstar, yeah, that game was
Yeah,
sick.
that game
I
was
love that
awesome.
game.
APB, I played a lot of APB.
APB, yeah.
I did too.
That was good.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings Online, Bob Ishinga said. Yeah, that game's still going strong, I think.
Yeah.
For
Is
sure.
it? Oh wow.
I think so.
It's going. I don't think it's strong, but it's going. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
still
I thought
alive.
it was doing well, but maybe not.
Yeah, they had like a Bilbo funeral or something a while ago. I saw.
Oh.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
Rip.
Right.
So I hope by 2030 Blizzard has something new up their sleeve, and here's what I'm hoping for. Okay, get this. World of StarCraft.
No,
Oh, man,
yeah,
that would be sick.
Yeah.
Can you
Okay.
play as the Zerg?
You can play as anything.
I have to
I
bring.
wanna be,
I have to bring this up because, and Erebus, I know what I know where you know where I'm going with this. There was a time when I remember I came home from school or something, and Erebus, he said, "Hey, guess what? Blizzard is releasing World of StarCraft." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And this was like 2008, maybe. It was, or maybe it was even earlier than that. I was like, "No way!" And so I looked it up, and I was like, "You realize this is an April Fool's joke, right?" And you were like, "What? What? Do you remember this?"
What day is it?
Yeah,
I
and it
fell
was.
hard.
Oh, you did. You were like so hyped, telling me all the things, like all the plans
Oh,
that they
man.
had for it, and then I looked it up. I'm like, "Yeah, this is."
Oh man, the two biggest ones were that one and the year that Mom said there was a moose in the backyard and there wasn't.
She's like, "Are you blind? It's right there." Like,
I'm like, Mom, there's not a
There's no
moose. We have a
moose.
really small backyard. There's nothing else here. There's no trees or anything. It's just a blank field.
how do you not
She's
see
like
it?
having an episode,
I'm like,
losing her mind.
Yeah, it's what made me the way I am today. I was like in grade 3 or something. I don't even remember. Like, come on.
Yeah.
There's a moose there, Mark.
Oh,
It's right in
man.
front of you. Come on. Why can't you see it? It's traumatizing.
Yeah.
There are
Oh, man.
3 lights.
Yeah.
Albondio said World of Minecraft. Oh God.
Oh man, World of Minecraft.
You guys remember the hype when StarCraft Ghost, some assets were leaked?
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
StarCraft
interesting.
Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like, oh man, a 3D up close siege
Yeah.
tank. Whoa.
Oh yeah.
World
Yeah.
of Minecraft would be like, do you want to roll a square or a circle?
Yeah. You know they were actually
Do you want to
released
go
footage
down or up?
Yeah. Do you know they actually released the dev kit for or the playable demo on a dev kit of StarCraft Ghost? Did you ever see that?
I heard
Yeah.
about
Oh, wow.
that. I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it was pretty cool. I gotta say, like it looked better than I expected. But yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I wish
neat.
it got released. I remember seeing StarCraft Ghost for the first time in Xbox Gamer magazine. There's all these screenshots of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like, holy crap, this
Yeah.
is gonna be amazing.
I know.
And then
Never
we
happened.
finally
So
got
good.
to play her in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, for sure. But yeah, World of StarCraft
That's
would
what I
be.
always
Oh,
wanted.
sign me up. That would be deadly.
I'd be
Yeah.
into that. I'm not normally into MMOs, but I love like StarCraft lore and the story and all that. And
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I would drop all. If I could transfer my WoW characters into a World of StarCraft or something, or they did some kind of bridge, I would give up WoW. Like I much prefer the universe and that genre and lore, like you said, to WoW.
Definitely.
Huh. So I have a question.
Yeah.
For those who know what this is, who thinks that by 2030 Star Citizen will be done?
Not yet. No,
I think they'll be at $2 billion on their Kickstarter and be in the exact same place.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has that game been in development?
You
I
know,
don't
you know
want
what-
to think about it. I
You
shouldn't
know what
have said
sucks,
anything.
man? You know what sucks? What they have done looks so fucking cool. Like it looks,
Yeah,
it
I
looks.
want it.
It like their UI. It's sleek. It like the way you board the ships, the shooting. It all looks amazing. But similar to Minecraft, it's not a game.
Okay, relax now.
It's
I
not a
agree.
game.
I 100% agree
It's
with
it's
Erebus.
not a game. It's an open world steaming pile of crap.
I installed it.
It's-
I tried it. Like I gotta agree right now. I want it to be good, but I don't think it's there yet.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it looks so cool, and the premise is cool. It's just
Do they have VR for that yet?
I think there's some functionality for VR. Maybe, or they've said there is going to be, like they've said for everything else, that it's going to eventually be there. Elite Dangerous though has announced that you'll be able to get out of the ships in the new expansion. So
That's exciting.
So they're going to do it before Star Citizen even gets finished their core game. So
I think that games like that, and games like EVE Online with the persistent universe, are where it's at.
yeah,
Maybe that's just a taste thing. Maybe that's not a 2030 thing necessarily. But yeah, that's interesting.
yeah.
No, for sure. All right, let's wrap this up really quickly. Erebus, final thoughts on this whole topic. Is there anything you were hopeful for, or anything you think is a guarantee?
I think a guarantee for me is that you will not. I won't say you won't be able to buy games, but I think that will be a very small thing. I think it'll be like the last Blockbuster that's like available in Milwaukee or something. Like that, it'll be like the only, like there's one Blockbuster left, right? I think that I read that somewhere. It'll be like that. It'll be like a really rare thing to buy a game.
Sure.
What I'm hopeful for is I'm hoping. I love VR. I love the concept of it. I love the technology, and I'm really hoping VR takes off and becomes more of like a Ready Player One type thing.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I do think VR is going to be big in 2030. I don't think it's going anywhere, and I'm hoping that it's a much more seamless, accessible experience for most people, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Athricus, final thoughts.
I'm along the same lines as Erebus. I would love to see even just one more step up on VR. Just a better pixel density on the screens would be enough for me. And then good hand tracking. I know Quest has hand tracking, but it's pretty trash right now. But if they can just get that, make it a little sleeker, I think that's certainly the future. And then I think there's just going to be a lot of combinations like cloud and VR, and Neuralink's going to step up their game. I think in 10 years it'll be not a mainstream thing. Essentially, I think everything that we're looking at right now that is like this is coming. You know, here's a demo is going to be obviously super mainstream, like ray tracing and everything, and will kind of be similar to where we are now, but everything will be just slightly better.
Okay. So you think overall the game experience will be the same, just more enhanced?
Except for stuff like VR.
Except for VR.
I think, again, except for VR is got a lot more room to move.
Yeah.
Than like 2D gaming, if you will.
Yeah. Going to the hand tracking you mentioned too. I was just thinking, how cool would it be to wear a glove and that glove tracks your hand completely?
Yeah.
Or
not even a glove. Just give the outward facing cameras that are tracking your hands.
Yeah, that too. That'd be.
Oh, sorry. And then there's the gloves. I really want those gloves that actually stop your fingers from moving when you're gripping things.
Haptic.
Really?
Yeah, full hand. Yeah, because it's all attached to your wrist. So when you grab something in VR, it actually prevents you from moving your hand.
Yes.
Do you remember that hand thing I had? Do you remember that? I got like the glove.
What year are we talking here?
Oh man.
Like 90s?
2006?
Okay.
No. Like
2006.
2006, 2007. Maybe you didn't have a chance to see it. It was so bad. It was so bad. I spent so much money on that. I didn't even have a job. I don't know how I got that money. Yeah,
But what is it exactly?
it had like an infrared sensor at the front, and you would put it on, and there was sensors on all of the fingers at the tips, so you could like point, right? And it could tell if you were bending, so you could like click. So you were still using a mouse, but you're just holding your arm at an uncomfortable angle, and it had bad tracking.
Yeah. So in theory, it's cool, but practicality, it's,
Awful.
No,
I love your idea, though. I want that to work so bad, Athricus.
yeah, it'd be cool. You'll have to send me a picture of that after in the
I will,
post
I
show
will.
for sure. Final thoughts for you, Rekizor?
I think everything we said is going to come true. I think that we're geniuses.
Everything.
That's why people are watching us. This is going to go down in history. We're going to be looking at this 100 years from now, and they're going to be like, oh my God, they said everything right. Now, I'd like to give myself a message in 2030. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to see what the future brings.
Absolutely. And M2, how about you?
I just hope things don't get worse.
Things don't get worse.
I hope gaming gets better and they don't start focusing on cell phone games and awful things.
Back in my day, we didn't use cell
Exactly.
phones to game. We used PCs.
I just want a good gaming experience. I want good multiplayer. I want fun and engaging things.
Absolutely.
I don't want to look at a tiny little screen. I don't care for all the I like VR, but I don't care for all the bulkiness. I want VR to look like this.
Yeah.
Put it on your face just like that. But
Yeah. And M2
that's what I want.
audio listeners. M2 is just holding his glasses there. But yeah, no, that how cool would that be for sure? And yeah, and that's kind of the approach I think too. I think VR is going to be huge, and something that we didn't actually touch on, and we'll just talk about for a second. I'm a teacher myself, right? So I think the educational aspects of VR are going to eventually go into the classroom, right? So rather than open a history book and read about Egyptian pyramids, for example, instead put on your VR headset and look at an Egyptian pyramid, right? Like I think that's where education is going to go, and it's going to be super cool. Maybe not in 10 years, but I think that's where things are going to go for sure from an educational perspective.
I think brick and mortar in general is going to be much less in 2030. So like less people going to school, less people going to the mall, less people going to different things because they'll be able to do it at home through VR.
Yeah. I think COVID-19 was preparing us for all that. Just staying home all day, every day. But that could be the norm. Maybe in 2030. Who knows? Yeah. What was it Albondio said? COVID-30. Could happen.
If I could send a message to myself in the future, it would be to stop Minecraft from becoming a thing.
Isn't it already a thing, though?
But wait,
And
wouldn't that be a thing of...
message to the past.
Yeah, that'd be the past, genius. You already are in the future.
Moving on.
Yes, you go in the future to tell your past self. That's
You guys got to watch Primer.
what is that show again?
It's
It's a
the time
movie.
travel, timey-wimey.
Yes, okay.
It's very
Right on.
confusing.
Right on. All right. I think we got to wrap this up, so we're going to do a quick trivia. And so we'll move on to the trivia. We have Athricus, Erebus, and M2 all have 1 point. And this is our fifth or sixth trivia question. So the track record is not great. And Rekizor, you have a whopping 0 points. So this might be the first one. So this question actually has to do with mobile games, because I knew we'd be talking a fair bit about mobile games today. And some of you might know this on top of your head, and maybe not. But so the number one grossing game of all time is Monster Strike. I've never even heard of this game, but that's what it is. That's the number one game.
Oh, that's a fact. That's not the question.
That is the fact, and that's it.
Okay.
All right, thanks for being here, guys. No. And so that's the number one game. Number two is Puzzles and Dragons at 7, and they've made 7.7 billion. Honor of Kings / Arena of Valor is number 3 at 7.5 billion. Which game comes in at number 4? Is it Clash of Clans? Is it Fortnite? Is it Candy Crush? Or is it Pokemon Go? So again, I listed those first 3 games. Which game is number 4 grossing, the number 4 grossing mobile game of all time?
Can I think out loud?
No.
No. So again, just the format here. If you know the answer for sure 100%, I'll go to you last. If you have absolutely no idea, I'll probably go to you first. But yeah, when I get to you, you can certainly think out loud for sure. Okay. I'll say it again. So I listed those 3 games. Which game comes in at number 4? And again, I trust you're not looking at Twitch chat in case anyone actually Googles this, and just focus on our conversation here. Those 3 games were the top 3. Which one is number 4? Is it Clash of Clans, Fortnite, Candy Crush, or Pokemon Go?
Now, for Fortnite, are they just counting the revenue or the user base for the mobile, or?
I believe strictly from mobile. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So all these games are on the top, I guess, 100 list. So they are obviously high-grossing games, obviously. But which one is number 4?
What were the 3 games again?
4 games. Oh, sorry. The top 3 was Monster Strike. It's at number 1. Puzzles and Dragons was at number 2. And Honor of Kings / Arena of Valor. I guess they're the same game or updated one. And it was 8.1 billion, 7.7 billion, 7.5 billion. So, does anyone know for sure or think they have a pretty good idea?
I think I have an idea.
Okay. And I'll say this next game was at 6.4 billion. Okay, so M2, you think you have an idea?
Yep.
All right. Erebus, Athicus, Recusor, do you have any idea?
No.
I can make deductions that are probably wrong.
No, that's all right. And people in Twitch chat, you can guess away. Don't worry. I trust people on the panel are not actually looking anyway, so we're good. Recusor, we can start with you. Why not? What do you think?
Give me a chance to get a point. Is that what's going on here?
Exactly.
Is this a pity?
This is what it's all about. I want you to be able to. I want you to keep coming back.
No, it's solid. Thank you. I want to keep coming back.
Awesome.
The only thing that makes sense to me is Candy Crush, based on how long it's been out. I don't at all believe Fortnite could ever qualify for that in such a short period of time. If it can, good for them. Can't even be mad. I'm gonna say Candy Crush.
Candy Crush. All right. Erebus, let's go to you next.
Oh yeah, this one I'm like probably not that I got anything else right, but this one I'm really not confident at all. What were the? So it was Clash of Clans, Candy Crush, Fortnite, and what was the 4th one?
Pokemon Go.
I almost wonder.
It hasn't been out long enough.
I know that. I'm just trying to guess.
So remember, and I did say the number was
Excuse me.
6.7 billion.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Sorry,
I'm gonna
6.4 billion. But yeah,
That's a ridiculous number.
It's not 6.7 though.
Yeah. I'll go. I know it's wrong. I'll go Clash of Clans.
So locked into Clash of Clans. So far we have Candy Crush from Recusor, Clash of Clans from Erebus. Athicus will go to you next. You're like staring in intense thought.
I don't think it could be Pokemon. There's not a whole lot to buy. This is money we're talking about, right? This is like
Pure
microtransactions.
top grossing mobile game.
But what about?
No, don't even say it. I'll say my thing first. You'll sway my thing. I guess I'll say Clash of Clans as well.
Final answer. Locked in.
Yeah.
Athicus takes these points extremely seriously.
I'll do Candy Crush.
So you're locked into Candy Crush.
I'll do Candy Crush. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So we have 2 votes for Candy Crush, 1 for Clash of Clans, and M2. What do you think?
I think it's a trick question because the answer is obviously Raid Shadow Legends.
Man, the amount of ads I see for that game. They definitely spent $6.7 billion in ads for that.
I think it's Candy Crush.
Locked into Candy Crush. So we have two votes for Candy Crush, and three votes for Candy Crush, one for Clash of Clans. So, to no one's surprise, Fortnite is the lowest on this list. Fortnite has earned $1 billion.
That's ridiculous.
Lame.
That is
No,
a lot.
6.7.
The next lowest one, as you guys probably guessed, would be what?
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go. 4.7 billion, though.
What?
4.7 billion. That came out summer of 2016.
Oh, man.
What? Did they have like partnerships with retail outlets to direct pedestrian traffic? Is that how they make money?
But you could buy like a bunch of like Pokeballs and all that.
It's probably just because it tracks where everybody is. It's like they sell it to like CIA or something.
I've never even played Pokemon Go, so I don't know how they make their money.
And
Man.
So the answer is, again, this one is at 6.4 billion. Clash of Clans is the answer. Clash of Clans
My
is
heart.
the highest grossing one. So Clash of Clans earned 6.4 billion and number 4 on the all-time list. Erebus got it right. He's all
Erebus
pumped
with
up.
the point.
Candy Crush, and honestly, if I was doing, I didn't know this answer beforehand. I probably would have went with Candy Crush as well. 5.4 billion for Candy Crush.
After, because you were so
So
close.
it's a
You
billion.
guys
A billion
I was
behind
so
Clash of
ready.
Clans was still a heck of a lot of money.
When did they both come out? So like, which one made that amount of money faster?
They're both pretty old. I know that.
Yeah.
That's something. If one of you guys want to look that up, you can. Just because I don't want to lose the.
See, I think it wasn't Clash of Clans big. Like, see, yeah, I think they were around the same time, but I thought Clash of Clans was bigger in the like Japan and places like that. Like, I don't know,
I think mobile games
So,
are in
Clash of-
general bigger.
bigger over there, yeah. But like Clash of Clans, I remember reading stuff about like how big it was. But
and like
So Clash of Clans came out August 2, 2012, and Candy Crush came out April 12, 2012. So Candy Crush actually came out earlier.
wow,
Not by much though.
Not by much
Yeah.
though.
And if you think about it, this Monster Strike game at number 1, 8.1 billion.
I haven't even heard of that game.
I know. And Puzzles and
I blame
Dragons.
China.
That must be
I think
China.
I think one of them is Tencent for sure. I think
yeah.
which is big in mobile
I
markets.
think Honor of Kings is Tencent.
Well, they're doing the
Yes, I
Tencent
think
is
you're
doing
right,
the
yeah.
Pokemon, they're doing the Pokemon MOBA, aren't they? Tencent?
Yeah.
I think so. Also, quick question: what do you guys think? What has made more money, PUBG Mobile or Fortnite?
I'd say PUBG Mobile.
What do you
Like
think?
Fortnite.
I think Fortnite.
Am I gonna get another point here or what?
This is just
You
for
gonna
fun. This one, well, it's all for fun, but this one's no point.
PUBG Mobile is
do-
huge.
I'll do PUBG Mobile too.
Yeah,
I think that's the
that surprised me. PUBG Mobile is number 9 all time.
Another point for Erebus.
yeah. You're a piece of garbage. Yeah, you're not getting
Yeah.
crap.
It's
Wow.
2.55 billion for PUBG, whereas Fortnite's only $1 billion, right? And that surprised me. I thought of including PUBG on the list instead of Fortnite, but I figured you guys would think Fortnite had more, right? And that's what I would have thought. So that's nuts. So yeah, I thought that was interesting for sure. So Erebus gets an extra point. You now have 2 points, leading the pack. And Rekizor, you're still at 0. But it's all good.
It was
Someday,
fun though.
yeah,
The real reward was friendship.
that's what it's all about. That's what it's always about.
Oh, so wholesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Yeah. So I'll do the final housekeeping first. So again, you can follow the stream on Twitch. We stream every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're live on Twitch now, feel free to give us a follow if you enjoyed our debate over gaming in 2030. And we also are on all forms of many forms of social media, from Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. You can catch VODs on YouTube. We have our Discord. The link to the Discord is on Twitch, so you should follow us in any manner that you choose. And other than that, it's like I said, 9 p.m. every Monday. And we usually have some pretty engaging discussions. You can see highlights on YouTube as well of us, ranting at each other and things like that. So, we hope you will return to this to listen again to I Never Cast for this. But before we send off, let's just do final send-offs. Erebus, anything you want to plug or say before we go?
Twitch.tv/Erebus. Disappointed once again this week. No new followers, no new views. That's all I've really got to say about that.
Right on. And for those that don't know, newcomers to the stream, Erebus hasn't streamed since 2015. So, he's trying to do this new thing where the less he streams, the more followers he's trying to get. So it's an interesting approach. Let's see how it works. Athicus.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Leave me alone.
Leave.
Leave me the hell away
Nothing else you want to say before we go?
No. Have a good week.
Thank you. You too. Regusor.
I'm gonna start on Twitter, and I'm gonna be sending out turnip codes, dodo codes for Animal Crossing, for the Sow Jones stock market. Turnips are where it's at. Turnips are life. Animal Crossing is life.
Are you playing Animal Crossing?
I got Animal Crossing.
Oh,
Are
nice.
you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man, I might have had to fire it up again.
I didn't even go to Switch. I forgot about that.
Yeah. How are we waiting until the end of the stream, to end of the cast, to talk about this? Cool, awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's great. And last but not least, M2.
I guess I don't stream or anything. At least not. I have in the past, but I don't know if anybody wants to play some Warships. Hit me up. My wargaming ID is M2 EMTU. So I have a high win rate, please.
Cool stuff. And anyways, that's 5 of us here on I Never Cast for this. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.